Everything modern.
435 horsepower of fury.
I thought this thing was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap.
Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know, and we're gonna chop it off. It's called a Sling-Ray. It started as a Polaris slingshot with 3 wheels.
I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
No matter how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
Holy cow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You might have noticed we had this 64 Lincoln sitting in the lot for quite some time. 4 or 5 years, I don't really know how many. Man, I've been looking for you. What are you doing?
Man, I'm just getting a couple numbers off this thing. I think I got this thing sold.
Really? Yeah. I've been wanting to hear that for quite a while. Never happened, so it never left. Man, I was beginning to think this thing was gonna be here forever.
Well, it might not be going too far. I think our buyer's gonna want us to build it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It don't get any better than that, right? Make a little money on the sale and then make a little money on the customization.
That is for sure.
These are always cool cars, man. I mean, the 64 Lincoln is just, it's iconic. Been itching to do some stuff to one of these for quite a while. There's so much you can do to these things. I mean, this thing's 20 feet long, and it's almost 20 feet wide.
20 feet of fury, but it's more of a boat than it is a car.
You're right.
Maybe put some propellers on the back or something, take it around the lake.
Hey, before you get too far, man, let's make sure you get this thing sold.
I'm not making any promises, but I'm 100% gonna sell this car today.
I like that confidence, man. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
Somebody just walking around Sunny Drive, these old cars might not look like much. You know, I wouldn't keep them all around if I didn't see the potential of what they could be. The whole trick is to find someone that wants that project. Once you have that, it's really satisfying to bring these old cars back to life.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, man, real good. Congratulations, you're the new owner of the 64 Lincoln Continental.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. That's a fantastic car. You know, ever since I rode in one about 25 years ago, wanted to get one of these, nice.
It still has the top on it, you know that, right?
Can you guys help me with that?
So you want to make this thing a convertible?
That would be sweet, yeah.
Man, we can definitely do that. That'd be real cool. Just chop the top off, weld all the seams up, and just make it a convertible all year round.
All year round, yep.
Where are you located?
I'm outside of Boston, so we'll have to make sure it's got some heat.
We can definitely do that. How far are we taking this?
You guys could do your magic and make it something really, really custom, really sweet for me. I'd love to, have a really nice street cruiser that goes fast and handles well.
Man, we definitely got you on that. First thing, put a modern engine in it with a lot of power, reliability, just something you can get in, hit the key, and haul butt with.
Oh, I love it.
We'll put it on air suspension, big brakes, big wheels and tires. Make this Lincoln ride really good, handle really well, and you're gonna look cool doing it.
That sounds awesome.
Any preference toward any colors, anything like that?
To me, a Lincoln Continental, that vintage has always been black. And then in the interior, I think like a white.
Kind of like a junior mint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Frank wants this full-time convertible, so one thing we're gonna focus a lot on is the interior. That's a really, really important thing on any car, but especially a car with no top on it. We need to build you something just totally custom and totally unique and just make this a piece of art.
All right.
We'll make this thing happen for you.
All right, perfect. Can't wait to see it.
Talk to you later. You know, this job's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's really good to get this thing out of the lot, get it sold, but, the other hand, I know exactly how much work is gonna have to go into this. Every job has its own set of challenges, no different. I'm really nervous. One of the things you dread most on a car this old, been sitting for quite some time, is rust. I mean, rust destroys everything. I mean, it's a New Mexico car, nice and dry climate. It should be pretty solid, but once we blast it, we'll know for sure.
Max.
Yep.
Why did you call me to this bay, and why is this car in the shop?
Well, because I sold it.
Why didn't you put it on a trailer and just get it out of my life?
Because the guy that purchased the car, the new owner, wants us to build it.
I know you're new here, and this is our first heart-to-heart.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this has a chance to just leave, just let it go. What are we doing to this thing? There's a ton of Lincolns, ton of them been done. What are we gonna do that's gonna be different?
What we're gonna do to this thing?
It's not what we're doing, it's what aren't we doing. You know, I definitely got a couple concerns on this thing. First, you see the rust going through on the hood and trunk lid, right?
That's definitely not gonna buff out.
Everything else looks pretty solid, but we won't know till we get it blasted. You know, the next thing, engine out of this thing is gonna have brand new power plant.
Yeah.
We want that Coyote in here. Put the Ford engine with the Ford body.
Very cool.
You know, keep it all legit. As far as the interior, everything completely out. We're gonna start fresh on that. We really want to focus on the interior too, because there's not gonna be a top on it.
Where is the top going?
The top's going in the scrap bin.
We're just totally roastering, taking
We're
the top.
cutting the roof completely off this thing, taking all the glass out and capping the doors and the deck lid. 100% no top all the time.
That's awesome.
You know we got to make this thing low to the ground. Get this thing on air suspension, get it all the way on the ground, and freshen everything up. 24x8s in the front, 24x10s in the back, new brakes, ball joints, everything. Start 100% fresh.
Tell me we're going black.
You know, I totally agree with Frank. This car just needs to be black. Not just a normal black, not just a deep black. We're gonna give it something that wakes it up a little bit. It's this car. I mean, we definitely need to keep this on it.
I think it's mostly here.
Yeah,
I think it's all here.
re-chrome the bumpers, grill. Man, it really stand out against that black.
Awesome.
First things first is getting some guys. Let's get this thing totally stripped.
I'll get some people. We'll get started.
I want to go get a bunch of parts.
Ready?
Ready?
We'll take the trunk off and the lid off. I'll go get John, take all the interior out. Hey, we got the trunk out. So far, I'm pleasantly surprised. It doesn't look as bad as I thought. When John gets the carpet out, it's gonna be a telltale sign to see how the floor looks in this thing.
One of the challenges with these old cars is everything's stripped out, everything's rusted, nothing really wants to come apart, so a lot of times you just gotta turn the bolts into liquid. Just stuck to the floor. He's still standing here. That's a plus.
Surprisingly, it looks really good. This floor could have been a whole lot worse. Man, we're gonna take all the 1964 off this car. We're gonna make everything modern, make everything handle better, drive better, stop better. All this old stuff, get it out of here. So now when we get it blasted, it's gonna be a fresh new start. We won't have to deal with 60 years of dirt, grease, grime. We can weld right to it, and we know it's ready to go. And then go on to the front and move the motor. Can I go up? Up. Go.
Go down. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Whew. It was a lot of dirty work, but we finally got this thing all stripped down. The next big surprise is gonna be when it comes back from blast.
Got everything stripped down now. It's looking real good. You know, I'm really happy with, you know, what we're not seeing right now, right?
Yeah. We took all the carpet out and you didn't see the concrete. That was a huge plus. But there's always a couple more surprises. You know that.
Looks good, man. Let's go get this thing blasted and really see what we're working with.
Do it.
Depending on how backed up the media blaster is, sometimes a project can take up to 2 weeks to come back. But other times, like in this case, it's the next day.
Man, it came back from blast. That side doesn't look as bad. I want you to look at this side. It looks a lot rougher than when it left. Especially, I don't know what's going on here. You speechless?
Man, I thought this thing, you know, was solid. It's solid full of holes and crap, right?
The paint was all faded. You would think over time you'd start to see stuff coming back through it, but it was well hidden.
Man, very well.
The other side looks decent. The floorboards look decent. Everything underneath looks good. It has so much Bondo right there.
Yep. Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know, the roof looks really good. We're gonna chop it off. Well, we gotta do what we gotta do now. We're already too deep in this thing to do anything about it, so we'll just replace the fender. Probably gonna replace the quarter. Let's get it. You know, you always hate it when a car comes back from media blast and it's in worse shape from what you thought. The 1964 Lincoln is a lot worse. Luckily, Max sourced some old replacement panels. That way, Jamie can get busy and get them replaced.
This thing's pretty much beyond repair. I mean, these ripples into the door jamb. And then we come to the front right here. This is pretty much the same story. It's too far gone. We don't want to put any metal like that back. So best thing to do, go ahead and cut this off, skin this with a new fender, and send it back to the body shop. Let's get started. All these little indentions are spot tacks. I'm gonna have to drill everyone out. So cue the time lapse. All the spot tacks are just about out. So we'll go ahead and score a line right next to this door to make it easier to go ahead and get these leftover spot tacks out. Just a quick cut with a cutoff wheel, and we'll have this panel off. This was on another car a week ago. Just an old 64, 65 fender. I always like to use original parts instead of like a repop. The new metal is a little bit thinner, the old metal is a little bit thicker and stronger. On this panel, there's a chrome trim piece right here. If I don't put these even, you'll see a gap on the chrome. So it's really important that I clamp everything right where it needs to go. In the old days, this is how they put together. I mean, I don't know. I've seen glue come apart, so you'll never catch me using a glue gun. It's always gonna be a welder. Okay, that one's in. Everything looks good. Go ahead and move on to the back now.
I look up and I see Tim rolling up in that Sling-Ray. Man, I'm excited. You know, I've been wanting to see this thing for quite some time. It's called a Sling-Ray. It rolled into SEMA a couple of years ago, and man, people haven't stopped talking about it since. Tim, what's happening?
What's up, Bill? How you doing, brother?
Man, all right. Man, I finally get to see this thing in person?
Sure do, man. What do you think of it?
Man, it's crazy. So finally seeing this thing in person, it's amazing. I mean, it's a work of art. It started as a Polaris Slingshot, which is an auto cycle with 3 wheels.
We basically turned it into a 4-wheel conversion instead of 3 like the typical.
That's unbelievable.
Dropped in an LS3 with a stage 2 Whipple. And of course, we did this crazy exoskeleton to match a huge sound system in it, and it's all on air ride.
Crazy.
Big adult go-kart.
This is the kind of thinking that I like, just totally out of the box. It's what brings you by, man.
A couple little things that, you know, when I got the car back, basically just weren't complete. I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
You know, I totally get it. No matter how cool, how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
The engine bay over there, there's a lot of where you can see the wiring and everything else, you know, that we needed like some kind of like sheet metal or something, that cool cover plate.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Big void right here. Big void on the other
For
side.
sure.
You see all the wiring and everything.
For sure.
We can build a sheet metal panel, give it some bead rolling, make it look really nice. And the filter, man, yeah. It definitely needs something else on there, for sure.
Started on the filter. I can always tell who the haters are, because that's the first thing they talk about every time they look at this car. Everything else in this car is completely custom, so I think that should be too.
I might just have to test drive this thing, you know, personally, and just make sure the suspension is right, the engine's performing right, you know. Just make sure everything's right for you.
Of course, man, whatever you
I
got to
look
do.
out for you.
Oh, I know you're looking out for me. I'm sure you want to take it for a spin to get that, get the feel for those compartments.
Yeah, I just got to make sure, you know.
Oh yeah, I totally get it, man. Of course, take it for a spin.
You know, looking at this, it's just a tease.
Man,
When you see a car like this, a vehicle like this, you gotta get behind the wheel and just feel it.
thing is great to drive. Handles good, rides good, it's got unbelievable amount of power. That's exactly what you want, when driving something like this. I can totally understand the obsession of getting this thing 100% right and 100% finished. Everywhere you go, it draws a huge crowd. Everybody wants to talk to you about it and ask a million questions. What we don't want them to ask is, how come this isn't finished right here? When we're done with this, there's not gonna be a reason for that guy to say one word.
So what are we doing to this thing?
You know, everything has been done to this thing, which is everything.
Yeah.
Once you have a project done like this, there's always that 1 or 2 or 10 things that you see that nobody else sees. Once you see those things, you can't unsee it. You're just fixated on it until it's fixed. Of course, one of the things is the air filter. This thing is way too cool to have something that uncool on it. The next thing, it's got a couple little pockets in the front, little factory, little voids where you see down there.
Custom panels on both sides of the engine to hide all that wiring. And then we'll color match them with two-tone paint.
Clean it up real good?
Yeah. You know, it's really cool to get a project like this in the shop. Even though we didn't build it, it's good to be a part of it.
Goes without saying, because you can see right into the engine. The look of the covers are that much more important. So I asked Jamie to lay out a design so to go over with the overall flow of the Sling-Ray.
Basically, I'm gonna start out with a blank chipboard pen. Gonna scratch out a couple designs, see if I can get some things to work and fit around these areas. Make it something you want to look at instead of something you look away from. I'm just getting a rough outline, to see how I can tie everything in together to hide as much of these wires and these canisters as I can, because it's not very nice to look at. It's time consuming, but it's definitely necessary. See how much better it ties in already? That's already looking a lot better. You can see it's not just a flat piece of metal. It's got a lot of shapes and bends and contours. It's busy. And I also have to duplicate this to the other side, which makes it even harder.
For most car guys, the Sling-Ray is almost a perfect build. But even then, there's always one more thing. So right now, Jamie's making some custom panels to hide all that wiring.
So now I got all my pieces right here. Taking the tape off, kind of just breaking them down into flat panels. Try to space them as close together to save metal. You don't want to waste a bunch of metal by just putting them wherever. Once I do that, go ahead and cut it out, and then I'll start shaping it. So rather than making another template for the other side, go ahead and make my template out of the copies that I just cut out. Oh, it'll just be mirrored, flipped. That'll be my other side. So this is my passenger side, this is my driver's side, this is the side I made my template from. So I'm gonna take my template, mark both panels out at once so they're exactly the same. I put the same bends, the same roll, everything in it at the same time. All right, let's cross fingers. Take your time to do this. You can't just rush this. This has to be planned out. One wrong bend, and you might as well throw the panel away. You can look at it right now and see that everything's exactly the same comp there. This first one, now just a couple more left to go. Pretty happy with the shape. I'm ready to tack everything up. Pretty happy with the way this is starting to look. So all I need to do is mirror the other side, then I can continue on, forming on this piece around the edge.
We made real progress on the suspension for the '64 Lincoln. We tied the two links directly into the existing unibody.
How's your two legs look, parallel or what?
Looks pretty close right here.
We're buttoning up the bag mounts, and then we're moving on to turning this into a roadster.
Go ahead and tack it on the corner, just like you did on the other side.
You know, being here at Ekstensive, working on these Lincolns, it's always cool to be able to
put these parts on and see it all come together, and once it drives out, you see it sitting on the ground. It's pretty awesome.
Before you just go chopping a top off, you know, it's critical to reinforce the body first.
This whole Lincoln is a unibody car, so that means there's no rigid and doesn't need a frame. But we just can't cut the roof off or the whole car just bend in half, right? So what we need to do is cut 2 inches out of here and put in 2x4 box tubing in it. So this thing is really, really, really rigid. Let's get it, man. Once you get on that side and just kind of replicate what I'm doing on this side, we'll knock it out real quick.
Okay.
Cut it as straight as you can, right on the outside of the line, because it's going to be a lot easier to put the tubing in and out with it not being right on it. But you don't want to get too far out, because that's a bigger gap we have to weld up, and that just takes more time. Once that's out of the way, we can see what's under it and see how much farther to go.
That's good right there. From underneath, it's one piece of metal that just curves around into the floor. So I raised it up to get a better angle with the cutting wheel. That'll be way easier than doing it from inside the car.
Yeah. Like a glove. Pretty much what we have now is a frame for this thing. That tubing is gonna hold the majority of the flex and weight of this car.
It was a pain, but we got it done.
Well, you ain't done yet. You know, you got the other half to do. Let's just get one end and twist.
Bill finished getting these tacked in. I'm gonna go ahead and weld them out. These welds are gonna take a while. You don't wanna stay in one spot too long and have it heat up and distort the metal, so you gotta jump around and make sure it's done right.
Got this piece, man. You know where this goes. Without a roof, the door frames will lose their structural integrity. So I made a support to put the strength and rigidity back into it. Everything looks good. You got everything welded in nice and solid. It's a lot of welding, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now I got this for the pillar. That's gonna keep everything nice and strong, make sure these doors shut the same way as before when we had the top on it.
All right.
Man, you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
Because the Lincoln's not gonna have a roof, the interior is gonna be that much more visible. With that in mind, John and Brian are getting after it, making one-off door panels.
Oh, what you got there? Man, I come with breakfast tacos and dreams. Okay. So, my idea, instead of just a pleated panel, wood pleats. I'm gonna take this board and cut it down to be about 3/8 of an inch thick, and basically cut the pleats into the wood.
I see.
Pops out on it.
We carry that throughout the vehicle. That'll look really cool.
I know, that's why I was kind of like, got it. That's what we're gonna do. But first, we taco. Now that I got them cut to size, next thing I gotta do is cut them in half the long way, get them 2 pieces the right thickness, send her through. Then we'll run them through the planer, get everything smooth, nice and neat, and then we'll cut our pleats in it. I've set up a fence on the table saw. I want 1.5 inch wide pleats, so cut me some 1.5 inch wide strips. Follow the fence, make the first cut, then I'll stack one in, make another cut, another cut, another cut. Each time I put one of those in there, it moves me 1.5 inch over, gives my spacing evenly all the way across the board, so we get all these things cut and we'll be looking good. All right, so with that done, as you can see, we've got our pleats all the way across here. Everything's cut, they're nice and even. So the next thing we'll do, clean up the edges, and they'll be ready to stain.
All right, let's go.
We're adding a lot of power to the 64 Lincoln with the brand new Coyote 5.0.
400 down.
Like it's supposed to be there.
Now that we finished the air suspension and reinforced the body, we can get going to turning this thing into a roadster.
We're gonna do a one-weather car.
Yeah, there's no putting the top back on after this.
One-shot deal.
What we're gonna do is cut this sucker 2 inches from the edge here
We'll chop down low right here. And once we cap this part of the door, all this flows together. You know, you open the doors, man, it'll look nice without that indention there.
That's gonna be a clean body line right there. That's gonna look slick.
After we get it cut, we'll have the doors open all out of the way. And if we did our job right, the doors shut back in the right spot, right?
Everything's braced up super solid. I mean, I don't think it's gonna move at all. It's not going to move at all. Well, I'm about to cut this piece out right here. This is gonna be below the doors jammed, so it's just gonna fade right on in. You'll never see it. Got the front half pretty much cut. Now I'm just gonna go on this line right here.
You got it?
She's loose.
3 feet. Oh, yeah.
Got a little splinter.
Go.
Ready. All right. Got a hard top for sale. Whoa.
Now see if the door's shut.
All right. Look at that.
Looks good, man.
I think they should have made them like this.
Should have been a factory option, huh? The custom filler panels for the Sling-Ray, they're all welded out. Now it's time to add some colors.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, just checking this thing out. Jamie just did a really good job making the filler panels for this. Next step, get it all color matched, making it look good. I don't want it to stand out, so I want this wrinkle black so it all matches everything else. Paint this the silver to match the little trim on the side.
To make a two-tone and match the texture and the color at the same time.
Yeah.
It's gonna look sick, man.
Yeah, let me know when you get done with it.
All right, man.
Two-tone from right here, over here, it will be base coat, clear coat, so it'll be all gloss. From right here to this side, it will be all texture to match the rest of the car. I'm gonna have to cover this whole piece right here and pretty much leave this wide open. I'm showing this can, which is a truck bed coating. The reason why I'm using this kind of texture is because it's actually real close to the texture of the car, so it'll match really good once this whole thing's done. It's gonna look real nice.
Now Jamie can get the new intake in.
Yeah, it looks good.
And we're ready to give this right back to Tim.
Morning, Bill.
Man, good morning, Tim.
Good, man. How you doing, dude?
Good, man. You want donuts?
Nah, man, I'm good. I already had my coffee today. So I figured you didn't call me for donuts this morning, huh?
Might have something to show you.
Super excited to see it, man.
Why don't you just have your little donut, and I'll be right back.
All right. Deal. This thing looks sick. As soon as Bill pulled out, first thing I could look at was the engine compartment. Those new custom panels and that air intake looks awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. Absolutely love it. Dude, looks so dope.
What you think, man?
Dude, looks amazing, man. I love it.
You know, Tim, when you came in, it looked unfinished to you. I mean, there was just a couple of little issues here and there that you can't unsee once it's in your brain. You got to address it.
Oh,
right?
Definitely, man.
So that's what we did. Got it in the shop. Jamie got busy pounding some metal out, forming those panels for you. Man, he comes through.
Yeah.
Always.
Looks so good. I actually was only expecting some flat sheet metal panels, you know, maybe some bead roll on it, but they actually contoured the metal parts to where it actually looks like it's part of the car. It looks so cool.
After he hammered those out, shipped them over to the body shop, you know, they do what they do. Made these things super slick, two-tone paint, and added a texture on the inside, so it looks like a part you would get from the dealership.
Dude, it does. It totally wraps up this engine bay, though, for sure.
Well, that and
the intake.
The air intake that you had on there, just, it looked kind of cheesy, but now it's just over
over the top. You guys replicated the body from a Corvette 06 intake, made it just flow with the rest of it. These are definitely the jobs that, you know, just the little tweaks here and there makes such a huge, huge statement. Goes a long way with the customer.
Just wraps it all up.
Yeah, man.
You know, I think this is now complete. I mean, now this is the only thing that I need to do is just enjoy and drive it.
Hey, speaking of,
Yeah.
we got something I've been wanting to do.
What is it, man?
Man, I always wanted to do donuts
Yeah.
while eating donuts.
What?
Yeah, man. You know, I've been thinking about this for a while.
You want to do it?
Man, let's do it.
I'll hold this.
All right.
All right.
I like donuts. I like doing donuts. So how do you top that off? You do donuts while eating donuts. You know, this is a great day. Got a donut hanging out of my mouth, rubber flying, smoke everywhere, Tim screaming. Doesn't get better than that.
I'm really trying hard to play cool. Whoa, man, that was wild. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Did I wake you up a little bit?
Just a little bit, man. Good idea. Good idea.
We're painting the 64 Lincoln black, and the interior is gonna be all white.
John brought Lewis in to help him paint the custom wood door panel.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
How's it going, man?
All right, you doing all right?
Yes, sir. What you got for me?
The idea I had is I wanted to actually take and mimic the pleats in the car.
Yep.
And I made wood pleats.
Awesome.
I want to do a solid white finish on this, almost like a whitewash.
Okay.
But be able to have the grain pop.
If you really want to feel that grain, what we'll do is we'll take a wire brush. We'll actually wire brush all that soft grain out.
Yeah.
So it'll give it almost a texture.
Okay.
And then when we paint it white, that white will actually sit into the grain so you can see it and feel it. So yeah, man,
That's exactly
this is going to
what
be
we need.
awesome, man.
Yeah, we need a very dramatic finish.
All right, well,
All right,
find
man.
me somewhere to work and we'll get to it. So what we've got here is oak, and it's a very grainy species of wood. So we're gonna take the wire brush, and we're actually gonna rip out all of the softwood to expose the true character of this species. You can start to see the difference on how the character of the grain is actually accented. All right, we've got them all done. Now we just need to take them over to the paint booth, get some paint mixed up, and put some paint on them. Our base coat, you know, it's a brighter white. So what I've done is I've taken that base coat and added some of the pearl powders to it to get really close to the color of the vinyl that we're gonna be using in the Lincoln. All right, so we got everything sprayed. We're gonna let it dry. It looks really good. You can tell the wire brushing really helped to accent that grain. It's gonna look sick, dude.
We're almost done making the 64 Lincoln topless. One of the last steps of the metalwork is capping the doors.
You know, I'd love the no roof on this car. Warm, sunny day, going out cruising is what this car is all about. We're definitely not gonna need the windows to roll up, so what we did is bent some 20 gauge sheet metal, and we're gonna cap the doors so you just see smooth, custom lines and everything just flowing, and that's exactly what we want. Same spot. Right there. We put these bars across here. That way we know, without having to get back and look at it, that everything against this tubing is perfectly parallel with that over there. You know, the way we do something like this is leave the panel that we made all in one piece. That way, when we're tacking everything in, everything is 100% straight. Once you get it tacked in, all you need to do is go back and make a cut where the door opening is going to be, and then you fine-tune the little edges, and before you know it, you got a cool custom cap for a 64 Lincoln. Look good. Let's go eat.
The dash on the 64 Lincoln was in really rough shape. But John and Brian, they have no choice but to make it work.
Well, as you can see, this dash looks terrible. So we checked a couple of places, and no one on the interwebs has one. And if they do, it looks like or worse than ours. So that just meant we fixed the one we got. Just gonna take a little bit of fiberglass putty or get it packed into here. We'll get it all body worked out. Now, if that's done, the next thing we're gonna do is start working on the defrost vent panel. We're gonna mold in a speaker grill into that so we can put our speakers back in the factory location. We'll cut out a piece of wood. We'll just trace out our template. Once that's shaped out, a little bit of trim here to modify. Next thing to do, get it taped up, put it on the panel, get it body worked in. All right, got everything worked out on the dashboard. Looking good, body worked out, looks nice. The next thing we gotta do is wrap it. All right, so I got this nice white vinyl. Lay it up here, trace it all out, get our patterns done, and then sit down, sew it together. In order for this to lay out properly, we wanna make sure we take the time to keep this nice and flat. If we get any wrinkles in it now, when we sew it together, it'll be sewing a wrinkle into it.
So you got new lines going here?
Yeah, man, I just didn't wanna just have that grill look like it was just thrown up there. So
Yeah.
I'll reshape the whole top of the dash, just kind of tie it all together.
That looks good.
It's all worked out. So, man, all we gotta do now is just wrap this thing. A little bit of sewing. Favorite part?
Yeah.
Means I get to sit down.
So we get to do that very often.
I'll get the vinyl.
Cool, let's get it.
To the side. Now what we'll do, get these things sewn together. When I was growing up, I always wanted custom cars, and I knew I couldn't afford it, so I had to figure out how to do it myself. Now, in that process, I'd have never thought that I'd have found myself sitting behind a sewing machine. Get into doing interiors, you kind of expand what you do, and the sewing actually helps you out. You can build anything you want, because no matter what, you'll be able to cover it. I got a nightmare.
Well, it looked like a nightmare. How long is this thing?
About 11 feet. This is not gonna be fun.
It's just so much material. You sure this thing fits?
I have a little bit of faith in my process. I don't know what's worse, no glasses or fogged up glasses. So now that everything's glued, steamed, and in place, we're just gonna take our knife, take a little patience and work our way around it, get everything trimmed out. And once it's all trimmed out, this thing will be ready to go in the car.
We finished the body work for the Lincoln, now we can get it into paint. The owner wants a high gloss black to contrast the all white interior.
Beautiful.
And now we can put back in the 5.0 Coyote engine.
That is good on that nice black engine compartment. Yeah, that's finished up, so we go for a ride.
We're adding some custom 22-inch wheels and tires, dash, door panels, and seats. And we even re-chromed the original chrome. Man, it's crazy to think this thing sat in our lot for years. And now it looks brand new again.
Old Lincoln's finally done. It's pretty funny. Frank's on his way to check out his one-weather car, and it's cold and rainy. Been a staple in the parking lot for quite some time. From a diamond in the rough to a full polished show car. Always knew this car was gonna get finished one day.
Hey there, I'm here for a Lincoln.
Frank, what's happening?
Hey, Billy, Val, how are you guys?
It's a great day to pick up a one-weather car, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. I brought my rain jacket. I'm all set. You guys ready for me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I purchased that car years ago with intentions to eventually build it myself, but, you know, I've been kind of busy over the last few years, you know what I mean? Man, I'm finally glad we're able to take it in, get it finished up. We built you something really special, man, really cool.
I am ready to see it.
Let's go
see
check
this
it
car.
out. Let's go see.
All right. See this car. He's going to be fantastic.
Check this out.
Holy cow! Woo! That is sweet. Wow. When I walked out and saw that car, oh my goodness, I was blown away. Just love at first sight. My wildest dreams, I had some ideas, but I couldn't even imagine anything like this.
All your buddies are gonna be jealous.
Oh, they are. They are.
Frank, the rest of the world's gonna be jealous about this car. You know, there's nothing like seeing a big old long car with a no roof sitting on the ground like this one. You can't tell how many hours and hours of metal work that went into it. You know, I thought it was a solid car. Once we got it blasted, came back, you know, it was way, way worse shape than I originally thought. So we had to end up replacing the front fender, and the rear quarter, and the hood also. Once we got the body straight, the fun begins. This car being, you know, a unibody, just cutting the roof off isn't that easy. So what we had to do is go in and basically built a frame inside the body of the car to make it super rigid.
Give it enough stiffness so it's not twisting all over the place. Yeah, that's awesome.
So once we did that, we were able to cut the roof totally off, and we went and capped the top of the doors, and then capped the whole deck. I don't think it gets any cleaner than this.
I'm like ready to jump, like a Black Panther ready to pounce.
Of course, you know, in a car like this, you gotta have it low. So that's what we did. All custom air suspension on it, disc brakes front and rear, and 22-inch wheels that set all the way on the ground. That just makes this car. Check out underneath the hood.
All right, let's take a look at the motor. Oh my God, that is incredible. Wow.
Right?
Fantastic, beautiful.
You know, late model 5.0, you got about 450 horsepower under the hood now. This thing will get it.
Can't wait to get behind the wheel and try it out for myself,
Right?
yeah.
I'm glad you like this. I know you
It's
kind of
awesome.
already seen it, but check out the interior.
All right, let's go look at the interior. That is awesome.
This is one of the most important aspects of the car itself. When, you know, there's no roof, that's one of the first things you come up and look at. You know, John and the guys, I mean, look.
They did an
killed
amazing
it.
job. It's incredible.
And you can see it looks really, really clean. They put wood in all the door panels, wood accents all throughout, and then painted it all white. So it looks like something that would have came in this car back in the 60s.
Yep. The interior of this car is incredible. The white finishes with the piping on the seats, the white washed wood, it's just clean and perfect. Blew me out of the water. You not only met my expectations, you so far exceeded them.
Dop helped out with this project. You know, I can't thank him enough.
Woo! That is awesome.
This car looks amazing now.
Here we go. Yeah. Bill, this is so cool. I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
You're very welcome.
Great car.